I just don't know how to change my portrait image. Right. So anyway, so right now we're gearing up for the launch, and one of the initial one of the initial goal we have right now is to make sure that the app works on all platforms. So it used to be macOS X app first, but now we support Windows. Linux is next. So why don't we just do the Linux right now? Um, and literally, guys, this is all I have to do. This is literally it. Um, Soon, we should have this app working in Linux. It's pretty amazing. Um, just one ticket, one prompt, and off it goes. So I guess just to be clear what I did is I just prompted something, it creates a ticket, and what the ticket does is that it it holds the instructions of what to do. I can always change the ticket information. On the right is actually the agent itself. It has a full information of the project as well as the ticket. And so, as you can see, it says it's starting by reading the ticket and it's now understanding what the job is about. And there are some like agentic engineering going on under the hood. So if the ticket is too big for one job, it's going to split off into a goal and several tickets. Mm, uh, a lot of things like that, which are all fully customizable. So you can run it as minimally as you want it to be, which then is literally a shell. And that's how it really is by default. Um, so as you can see, like these are fully customizable workflows. You can like check on any of the items when you're creating the ticket. So if you wanted like a screenshot before and after um, of the job itself, you can click check on that. So for instance, like that's one of the ticket here. Um, you can pick and choose how you want it to run, how you want it to build. So there's the planning section, there's the design section. You can always add your own designing instructions here. Um, so you know you can keep it at the plan mode, and it's just only gonna create a plan, and you want to build it. But if you wanted to fully build out and issue a PR at the end, then this is for the build. Most of my tickets are build. Right now, I have one ticket just finished. Now it's in the review column with the PR ready to merge. So let's take a look. Um, okay, so this ticket was about me complaining that there was a build error on GitHub, and usually the first thing I glance is like, wait, what was that ticket about? And if I scroll down, these are the activity logs when it was created, why it was created, and then right after the PR is submitted, it gives you a summary of what was done, and this gives me a quick at a glance of like what the ticket was about and what the agent did to solve it. And so it's saying that yeah, there was a CI error on GitHub and how it was solved. We fixed the guard. There was no, you know, Prisma or database related issues. So the guard was the bug. So it fixed the bug. So I could even like check it myself directly and see what the changes were. So it was a very minor bug on one of the tasks apparently. So it's a very minor fix. I'm just gonna hit merge. And now it's being merged to the main. And because of my integration with Vercel, it's going to now push to production. So most of my time is spent on just creating and drafting the tickets. And then once it's running, anytime the agent needs to ask me a question or needs my information, um, it always comes up in the block column. So I'm just usually waiting for any tickets to go on the block column so I can unblock them. Um, one of the cool features that I have with Fredrin is the ability to create mockups. It will actually give you design options of how you wanted this to be built and designed before you even start working on the code. So I'm trying to see right now what I was currently working on. Okay, so the memory section needs a lot of work because I do think it's very messy. This is basically the brain. It's like the second brain for your company inside Fredrin. Every time you work on a ticket, every time ticket is merged, it also generates an ADR, OKF, and any other context related information that's going to help the project in any way. And this all works out of the box. You don't have to set anything yourself. So any project you work with Fredrin, you have the option to use our memory. You can also use your own if you want to, and you can just simply disable that from the project settings. So if you do not want to use memory, you can just disable it here. I highly advise you to enable memory because um, the memory you have, it it tags along everything you do inside Fredrin, and that it's not just the tickets, but also all your chat sessions. So your chat sessions have full context of all the tickets, the code base, the memory, the notes, and any other apps you might have here. They all work in conjunction and they all talk to each other. And that is what is makes the beauty of Fredrin. You don't have to deal with like integration and setting up token API keys and webhooks and all that circus, jumping through the hoops just to get like your agents communicating with your calendar or you know your docs and emails or anything like that. So the apps here are basically a core app of Fredrin. we do have plans to make it so users can create their own app actually. And I think that would be a very cool feature. So you can just create any app you want on the fly. So if you're like at the doctor's, you're working at a clinic, then you can definitely start creating apps that caters towards like patients or taking an appointment or you know for calls. All of that can be in this one app for that company. Of course, we have teams so that if you're not devs, then you do not need to see any of the apps. Like you don't want them to use chat, you don't want them to use code tasks, and we can make that a granular visibility, which actually is a very good point because that is something we do not have. Maybe I'll make that possible now. We need the ACL agent permissions for team members to access which apps they can see, read, write. Um, by default, all members can have or have access to all the apps. It's gonna be so ACL. I do think it should be out by default rather than opt in because I don't want this to be a very like um super like custom settings like where we go overboard with that and kind of give it a whole like Salesforce or like a Jira kind of fatigue. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. So I want to keep this as simple as possible. I just have to tell it like what I really want, and it has to do a good job. So I usually have YOLO mode for like simple tasks that I know the AI can just do a good job. But if anything is more bigger, I usually keep it off, and then it will create a ticket in the backlog where I can further refine how the agent should work on this ticket. So let's see. When I create it, there is a bit of a delay here because it's actually enriching the ticket right now for me. Is So now that it's finished creating the ticket, it has created a description for me that's more polished. Remember, all I gave it was just one sentence of what I wanted, and now it gave me some kind of a roadmap. I am using Sonnet 5 to handle that for me right now. That's completely configurable. You can use our this or favorite file for this. But this is supposed to be a very quick plan because there is a more intensive planning session you can have here, and that is what I will do now. In this planning session for this ticket, I don't want to build this out yet. I just want to get the plan first, and I can. Um, I would like to make sure to always have any kind of adversary review. That's because AI tend to be very biased in one way, and then if you tell it like, "Hey, but did you think of this way?" and AI will say, "Oh, you're right. I did not think of that." And that is very dangerous a lot of the time. And I just need the AI to make sure it has a pros and cons, and that's what this item will do. And this is another thing that I like to put in here. This is the full information of what this. Each of these workflow items has a complete prompt inside of it. So these are just labels. Um, any bugs or issue related tickets, I would always usually have this checked, which tends to do a much better job of like finding and fixing the problem rather than just like covering it and sweeping it under the rug. And these are all fully customizable too. You can write it all completely yourself, however you want the workflow to work. These are just based on my current needs. Um, I do want to have five de- design mockups. I wanted to know how it would look. It's probably gonna create some like variations of on the settings page of how to set the user permissions and what they can see and they cannot see. Okay, so now if I hit start planning, this is the full ticket it has. There are some questions that are asking me for. So you should see, read, and write the independent paragraph per app or hierarchical. Um, I think it's a hierarchical thing. Should permissions be assignable per individual member, per role, group, or both? Uh, I do think it can act as both. And I know this will increase the build out and the surface area of what it needs to, touch. But I know people will be always asking for something like, oh, but can I set it at the group level? Well, in this case, it's a team. So, anyway, should account owners have. Okay, so, yeah, retain full access regardless. Yes, always full access for, I think, whatever it is. I can start planning. Um, I have the ability to choose which machine this can run on. Um, if you're familiar with CMux, TMux is basically letting the agents run on a remote server. And we have also the Fredrin cloud as an option for those who do not have any remote agent servers up and running. And this spawns up a virtual sandbox that will bill you per the minute, by the minute. And as you can see, I kicked off the ticket, I'm working on the task, and then now I can just focus on other areas of the project. It will notify me once it has any questions or if it's done, it go into the review column. Um, so yeah, so that is that. One of the app I wanted to work on was for like shipping or like deployment because we kind of assume that you do know how to the whole service like digital versions and AWS if you need to. And so people who do not know that, um, definitely they're kind of like out of luck. And so if you had the deploy option, um, I was thinking that is something we can offer them a end-to-end flow. And right now, just to keep things simple, I was thinking we'll have a Vercel integration uh, because they have an API. I do believe we can supply some kind of like a white label option that can work out of the box. Uh, so why don't we even like just start working on that right now? Mhm. That connects and connect ship with probably to show. you can have any other platforms you like to add in the future. So make sure we have an adapter pattern, plugin pattern, so that we can always extend and we can always extend on your platform. Um, this also probably requires a design and planning. And so now I'm gonna do the same. And as and just so everyone knows, like this is exactly how I'm using Fredrin. Like I'm not using anything else. This is all I'm using right now to build Fredrin. I don't even use like terminal CMux anymore. Um, this app has everything I need all in one app. There's there's the so this access the like CMux. I can have different like terminal sessions going. I can always like create like different layouts for that. It's great. There's also the code editor. I can always look into any files at any time. Um, I don't need to open up like Cursor or any other like IDEs anymore. It has all the hotkeys I need as well. There's search and I can search and open up any files. I try to bring along like any of the hotkeys that is pretty standard with all these apps. There's the memory layer as I've shown earlier. There's the notes, which I think is still work in progress. We just like worked on it yesterday, but going to become kind of like I believe like either Obsidian style or it can be like a Notion style. We'll see. Um, some other apps I have here is local server, which will look at your code base and analyze all your files and it's going to give you all the these are like the PNPM, I mean the package scripts it found. So this one is for starting your Docker, for Postgres. This is for your web server, and this is to launch your the desktop app. So I use this for like when I'm working locally. Um, so now as you can see, one of them came into the blocked column now. So let's see. Let's see what's waiting for my attention here. And remember, this was working on a remote server. On my computer is a remote server and it's running off of a cloud subscription. So unlike Cursor, where almost everything is token based, you can just literally run this unlimited. Um, shouldn't members app permissions be workspace wide or set separately per project? Uh, this is a good question. I always dread these like access controls and roles and things like that because like as soon as you're dealing with organizations and there's like other tiers of organizations, these access controls can get very complicated. This is saying that whatever you set is workspace wide, which I do not agree because some member from one project can have more permissions than in another project. And I don't know. Like I just kind of lean towards um, which have the least amount of like uh, dead ends. Right. So if you keep it at per project, then typically I don't think you will run into Like it should just work for everybody. That's kind of the goal here to so that there's no dead ends. So I'm just gonna say per project. How deeply should the ACL be enforced? Server enforced, nav route following, yes, definitely gotta be server enforced. In the future, like I think it's going to be very, it shouldn't be able to be very granular. Okay, when a number level grant and a team grant disagree, which one? When a number level grant and a team grant disagree, which ones? I see. So this is the member versus at the team level. I think the if somebody was assigned to a team, I should be able to override it. So member overrides team. All apps are restrictable. Correct. Correct. So that's back to the running until it's asking me for another question. So that's really it. So yeah. So this ticket I just created. Um, again, these are the items I usually always check for anything like a big goal. And I do think this will be a much bigger ticket, meaning you can have group of tickets. So I checked that. Um, I want to plan it out first only. I want to see some mock-up design variations. Um, I do want to see the full flow cover all the screen states. So including like error states and things like that when I can start planning. Right now, I have like three agents working on this one server, remote agent server. So yeah, usually three is fine. I mean, usually I'd go up to like five or six. So I'm gonna just start planning. I do have another remote agent that I hooked in yesterday. I have two more. Let me just see what happened to them. Let's see what happened to those two agents I added. Remote agents. ENC one. Okay, Fred one is offline. Hmm, that's interesting. I didn't need to set up the workspace. Okay, because I have to double check the server later. This is down. And it can be anything. It could even be a Mac Mini, it can be a MacBook laptop, it can be a Ubuntu, it can be a PC. Actually, I've never tested it on a PC, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. Um, yeah, it's actually something I should have, but I don't want to overcomplicate that right now. Actually, let me just see if it even works. What else called? Does remote agent work? Can you install the program on your agent on a PC? Okay. I know it works inside Ubuntu and Mac. While that's going, let's go check the tasks. So these other tickets are from my other team members. Mm, let's see what they're working on. And another cool feature is most of the time when I'm looking at someone else's ticket, it takes a while to kind of reorient like what they're thinking about when they're creating the ticket. So I don't really want to read too much, so I just hit this button called Explain Summary or simply, and it will just um, I usually like to just go all the way to like on five. And shoot, just 10 minutes. The ticket is about the words on one page, compare page. Someone wants all the little dash marks at the line when taken out. Okay, so it's just polishing on the copy. And then he created several concepts or design markups. And it uploads it to the ticket's artifacts. So that's one concept. It looks like this is the it's changing this copy here. And honestly, like to me, simpler the better. And then besides the tools, you have more agents than you have attention now. Honestly, get Fredrin on the tools beside it. Six questions that decides how you run agent. This is a little more interesting. Okay. Environment. One board piece of water terminal. Yeah. These are the type of statements I think it resonates with me. So I like concept five. And if I say I like concept five, okay, so the other team member said they like the concept one. I'm going to say I like concept five, and I can ping him from here. Uh, 1, 2, 3. I like concept five actually. Okay, now he's going to be pinged. Okay, these are all still working. So yeah, I mean, there are some seriously big tasks I started just now, creating the deployment strategy using the app to deploy the app. So that this is gonna be huge. Adding Linux support gonna be huge as well. So yeah, let's just see where that goes. For now, I'm just gonna take a little break. Oh, actually, hold on. Before I do, it looks like the deployment plan is ready now. Well, not the deployment plan, it's the app to let you deploy to any platforms. It's asking me, how should Fredrin actually ship the project to Vercel? Vercel API. Yes, I think the API is all you need. We have the PR. They can both talk to each other. What triggers they deploy? Um, Auto on PR merge. Yes. I don't even think we need the manual ship button, but Okay, I'll take that out later if I don't want it. How does Fredrin keep his all record of deploys will be straight from the provider? Um, do we really want to keep track of all the deployment ourselves? I think we do because it's not just Vercel we want to deal with. We need that layer to have all the we've got to have audit trail, especially once you want to get into like SOC 2s, um, which surfaces beyond connect, then shipped out in the first release, which surfaces beyond connect. Okay. Hmm. I don't know what first release is. It's a bit ambiguous. Promoted previous successful deployment back to production. Okay, so this is for like if something bad happened. Uh, like a bad deployment. If there's a bad deployment, it's like it's asking for a undo or rollback weapon. Mm, I don't like that. Preview production. Deploy to a preview target as well as production so a branch can be shipped for review before it merges. Um, I do think we need it. I think every platform in here has a, I think it's a required feature. We string the provider's build output into the app while the deploy runs. I don't know if this is needed for SOC 2. I don't think we do actually because actually the more we store on our server is equal more liability. I'd rather not keep all the build logs. Read them entity platforms environment variable from inside server. Environment variable management is huge, yeah. If you can make that all in-house from our app, that would be amazing. So, okay, double down. Okay. All right, that's it for now. I'm going to take a breather.